Hi, so today I want to share 3 practical things for moving to Florida. And of course these things can be used anywhere, but some of these things are specific to Florida. So as some of you might know, my daughter and I moved to Florida 2 months ago. We moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Orlando, Florida. And these are some of the things that I did, and I hope that they will help you. So I'm going to have my notes here so I don't forget. So the first thing would be to make a plan, and that would involve how much money you're going to have for the things that you're going to need for deposits, rent, utilities, food, the move, gas, and so on and so forth. Also, if you have a house that you're selling where you are, when are you going to put it on the market? And you have to get that ready to put on the market. And also, when will you move? And where will you stay when you get to Florida? Do you have somewhere to stay, someone to stay with? Are you going to move into a house, an apartment? Are you buying a house? Are you going to stay in an extended stay hotel? There are places in Orlando, for example. If you didn't have a place to stay, you could stay in an extended stay hotel. There's a place called Fusion Orlando, where it's a short-term rental location that I never stayed there, but I've heard good things about it, good to decent things about it. And also there's something called Hello Landing that I've heard about. When I was doing my research about where I would stay when I came to Orlando, Hello Landing is something you might want to look into. That I found at least 3 YouTube videos of people who have stayed in Hello Landing locations. They're like corporate rentals, but you don't have to be like in a corporation to rent them. But that place, and I think Fusion Orlando require you to show like a proof of income, like steady income coming in. And if you don't have that, then you could stay in an extended stay hotel. If you don't have that, those are the things, or someone to stay with, or already a place here to stay, or wherever you go to stay. So as part of the plan, what will you be bringing with you? What will you be taking with you when you leave? Will you be taking everything? Will you be selling your things, or donating, or throwing away your things, and you're starting new, getting everything new when you get to where you're going? If you are going to take all your things, I don't have experience with this because I didn't use a rental truck. So are you going to hire a rental company, a rental moving company? Are you going to get a rental car, a rental vehicle, a truck? How are you going to get your car to Florida? Are you going to drive it? Are you going to put it on a hitch in the back of a moving truck? What I did is we drove from Pittsburgh to Virginia, from Pennsylvania to Virginia, and we took the auto train. So we put the car on the auto train. We rode the train with the car in wherever they store it, and that's how we got to Orlando. So there is a video on my channel about that whole experience. So that's an option. So the next thing, number 2, would be to get a P.O. box. So when you get to Florida, if you don't have a reliable place to receive mail, or a permanent place where you're going to be to receive mail, so a P.O. box would be a good idea. Now, you don't necessarily have to, and this is my experience, you don't necessarily have to get the most expensive box. I personally got the extra small box because I really only expect to get mail, just regular mail in my box. Although yes, occasionally I do receive packages. So what happens when I receive packages that don't fit in my box, because the extra small box is basically like the size of a mailbox, and you really just fit mail in there. So what happens is, if you get packages that don't fit in there, they have now, at least this is in my post office, and I would imagine most, if not all, the post offices out there, they have lockers that are larger than that little box, that are not occupied by any one person. So if I receive a package that doesn't fit in my box but fits in one of those lockers, then they'll put a little key in my mailbox with the locker number, so that I just go and put the key in that locker, leave the key in there, open the locker, retrieve my package, and go on about my way. If I receive a package that's too large to fit even in the locker, then they'll put a note in my mailbox letting me know to go to customer service and retrieve my package there. Now, this would not, at least not in my post office, this is not the main line where, you know, everybody else would be doing their post office business. This would be a separate window where I go to retrieve my larger packages. I've even had packages that are large enough that I've needed their hand truck to borrow their hand truck to go to take the package to my car. So that's an option. And also, as far as PO boxes are concerned, as you might know, you cannot have packages delivered by like FedEx or UPS or DHL or any of these other carriers to a PO box. However, for the same price, I mean, it's included in the price of getting your PO box. This is not anything that they charge extra for. You can get a street address with your PO box. When you do your application, you can opt to get a street address so that FedEx and UPS and DHL and whoever else can deliver to you at the post office, but they're not using the PO box address, the traditional PO box address. So what they do is that they will put your name, the address of the post office, with the number of, not saying PO box, but just the number of your PO box, and then the rest of the address of the post office. And then those packages will be delivered to the post office, and then the post office personnel will see what number PO box it's for, and then they'll go ahead and put your items in your PO box, or put a key in there for the locker, or put a note in there to go to the customer service window. So the third thing would be is if you have children, you obviously have to decide, if they're not homeschooled, that is, you have to decide where you want them to go to school. So I am a realtor, and you can find out more information about me in the excuse me, I have tried to to record this video many times, so like I'm losing my voice at this point. But I'm a realtor, and you can find the more information about me in the description box below. So I could help with things like helping to figure out school information. But the point is, once you decide what school you want your children to go to, or your child to go to, then of course you would have to figure out what their admissions requirements are. So for me, when I decided that I wanted to move to Orlando, one of the main reason I wanted to move to Orlando is because I wanted to be near Disney. And Disney's in Orange County, so and my daughter wanted to go, and I wanted her to go as well to virtual school here. So I found the Orange County Virtual School, and so I went on their website and figured out what the admissions steps are, and their deadlines, and the application and all that. So I took care of all of that there. And so I started that process in Pittsburgh because I didn't need to have a Florida address to start the process. I needed to have an Orange County, Florida, Orlando, Florida address once before she started school, which I obviously had that once I got here. But I didn't need to have that to start the process. So I was able to start the process because with this particular school, she actually needed to get accepted. It wasn't like an automatic, I'm going to be there, and so this is just by default where she goes to school. She actually had to be accepted, and part of that was, they had to look at her grades. So the initial application, was getting them my information, getting them her grades, my information, her information, getting them her grades, and they did accept her. And then, we proceeded from there. There were some things that we did while we were still in Pittsburgh, and then there were other things that we completed while we were here. But I knew that one of the things that they were going to need was her medical records and her immunization records. So I made sure that, I've always kept her like latest checkup whatever they give me, whatever they print out whenever she has her well checkup. So I had that, but I did go to her pediatrician to make sure that I absolutely had her most recent immunization records, because I knew that I was going to have to give that to the school. And I'm talking about the traditional immunizations that children get from the time that they're babies and throughout the years. I'm not talking about COVID. Once we got here, I submitted. I did another submission of other things that they required, which included her immunization records and her medical records. Now, for this particular school district, they did not require the medical records to be from a Florida doctor, but they did require them to be within a year of her starting school, and hers were. However, when I submitted everything, and as far as the immunization records, they said, we need you to get these transferred over to a Form 680, which is basically Florida, Orange County. Well, I know it's not Orange County. It's Florida's public schools form. This is for school children going to school in Florida, for those forms. Not public school. I think it's any school. It's any Florida school. So in any event, so the point is that her immunization records needed to get transferred over to this form. So then I went online to do some research to figure out how to do this, because I didn't want to bother the school about that. So I found out that I could get it done at the local health department office. So I called them, and yes, they could do it, but I would need an appointment with them, and I didn't know how long that was going to take. But they said I could also get it done at CVS. So I said, okay, let me figure out, let me call CVS and see if I could just bring her in there. So I called CVS. I called the pharmacy, and they said that I needed to get it done at Minute Clinic. So then, but I needed to make the appointment online. So on there's no appointment for forms. So I called CVS back, and then I told them there's no appointment for forms. What do I do? So they said use an appointment for a well checkup. So that's what I did. So I made the appointment I still had to make an appointment, by the way. So the appointment issue was regardless. So I made an appointment, and we went in, and then once I got there, I told the nurse practitioner that we were not really there for a well checkup, but there was no option for forms, but we're there for her to ask her to transfer her immunization records to this Form 680. So she did that. That took about 15 to 20 minutes. Now she did she did put in all of her immunizations that she's had throughout her entire life into the system, which the system goes to the Florida Health Department. But as far as what the school required on this Form 680, it only shows whatever, it only shows whatever they needed, whatever immunizations they need for the school. So you would I looked at that form, and I'm like, it looks like some things are missing here. And she said, no, it's just that this is what they require, so that's all that shows up on the form. But all the immunizations, because I entered them all, are actually with the health department, so they have that information. So that is it for this, for my 3 things. I'm sure I have more, and there are more. If you have any practical tips that you would like to share that were helpful to you during your move or for your move, I'm sure they will be helpful to others. So please share them in the comment section. You can find out more about me in the description below, as far as my ability to help you as a realtor here in Orlando, Florida, and Central Florida. If you've received any value from this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I post every Sunday, and I will see you next time.